Hello, middle-aged gamers. We are back with just me and Adam, the OG crew from middle-aged gaming, but we still miss Antoine and Phil, of course. Today, we're going to be talking about games we are playing, because I miss games as much as I love philosophical topics. I love games, even if I've heard about a game 100 times, and we're going to talk about games that we have talked about privately and publicly as well. So you guys can probably guess what I'm going to be talking about today. Hey, didn't you have some video you wanted to show us?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot the video. I've been doing all this talking, and yeah, I have the video right up here. I
I was
got
like,
too
because I've,
excited.
I've seen the video, some video, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I wanted to see your video.
I got too excited talking. I totally forgot to put the video up here. So yeah, so this is the basic story. This is the intro part. You are somebody known as the mother, and the game's pretty enigmatic in what's going on, but she has some sort of magic power that she's protecting the world from something called the Others. And there was a child, and this child uh, was a male child, which is significant because all your characters in the game are female. So this child was a male. That makes him significant in some way, but then he was abused and mistreated through all these things. I guess there was some sort of plague in the world or something, and people thought that he was the solution to this problem, and they did just the most awful things to this kid to try to solve these issues. And ultimately, he became corrupted, and that allows the others in. The mother tries to defend the world. She fails. She dies. And so now she's basically in this eternal loop of resetting the world. She can summon up her daughters. They will fight on her behalf. And the objective is to kind of not defeat the child, but to break through to him and try to save him. So you're trying to basically kind of cleanse his soul in a way. And that seems to be kind of the goal of the game. I haven't gotten to the end yet, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out, if you're going to have to destroy him or what. But that seems to be kind of where they're going with it.
Are your daughters vampires? Because I've heard vampires thrown around on other podcasts.
Not really. I mean, I guess I could see where somebody might say they're vampires, but and it does have that kind of what's that movie? The underworld kind of gothic black and white kind of thematics and whatnot. Blood plays a pretty significant role in things, but no, I don't think they're vampires. As far as I can tell, they don't have fangs and they don't drink blood. It's you sacrifice one for the other, but when you do that, they kind of sink into a hole of, it looks like a puddle of blood, and the arms come up and they pull them and pull them down. And
So it's more like magical than vampiric.
yeah, it's they're definitely not traditional vampires, that's for sure. But they you could argue that they're kind of like, yeah, energy vampires in a way. But yeah, no, it's not. You're not a traditional vampire with blood sucking and you can only come out at night. It's definitely not that. No.
All right, so for the people who care about graphics, how's the performance on your PS5? Graphically looks great at 4K.
Oh my God, it looks so good at 4K. But like I said, this game, I wouldn't be surprised if it could run on a mobile, because it's not that graphically intensive. If you see the pictures of the daughters when they're there, they're not super detailed. Everything is kind of there aren't too many textures. Everything is kind of basic. Like here, we're looking at the level. You can see there's the rippling of the water, but most of it is just stone blocks, and these are just solid gray squares basically. So graphically, it's not that intensive, but it works really, really well because it has that minimalist kind of artistic aesthetic to it. So it's definitely not a low graphics thing. It's definitely a purposeful idea, and then I think the fact that they're only really using 3 colors kind of plays into that. It's supposed to be kind of this ethereal dreamscape in a way. So things aren't, so everything's kind of dampened and whatnot. So, but yeah, on the PS4, it runs absolutely fine.
PS4,
It's
PS5.
sorry, PS5. I'm sure it runs fine on the
Okay.
PS4 as well. I'm running the PS4 version of the game. There is no PS5 version of the game.
Okay.
But on PS5 it runs perfectly well. The only things I've only had one glitch so far, and that was there's a type of level where you need to defeat enemies, and each enemy you defeat gives you a number of blocks. And if you can get the set number of blocks you need, the daughter will jump out. So you're kind of farming experience. And I beat the level, and I had all my daughters out except for one, and so she just needed to kill one more enemy, but no more enemies were spawning. And so I was just running around this level turn after turn after turn, and there's nothing I can do to finish it. And so I had to just, back out and basically say I give up on this level. And it ultimately ended up killing the daughter, if she dies if she doesn't complete the level. So I had to sacrifice my daughter to keep the game going. That's the only glitch I've had so far. I have noticed that there are some, I don't know if they're bugs or whatnot. Like, for example, you can always tell when you can always tell if your character is going to land a finishing blow, because there's always a slight pause between when they are about to attack and when they actually attack. Normally you hit attack and they just straight up attack. But if you hit attack, there's about a half-second pause, and then they attack. Okay, that enemy's dead. So I don't know what's going on there. That might be I don't think that was done on purpose. I think that's probably just some sort of calculation, the game thinking like, okay, I'm going to have to load the death animation or something like that. But it's very subtle, but in a way, you kind of look forward to that little gap, because you're like, oh, great, I beat the level. Okay, I know I'm done. So it's not a huge deal, but yeah, it looks great
Okay.
despite three colors.
Next question. I mean, I know a lot of people, again, for other podcasts that I listen to, they've said like turn-based strategy games, or this sort of like SRPGs as you call them, playing them with a PS5 controller kind of, they're not great. Did you have any problems with that? Because, I mean, they feel like this kind of game is more intuitive with the mouse and keyboard.
I think that is the whole Macs are more user friendly than PCs argument. I think it's just whatever you start off on, then that's more comfortable for you. Like I said, I've been playing SRPGs. I played Final Fantasy Tactics. I've played, the Disgaea series, and I've always played them on console. So for me, this is intuitive. This is my native language, so to speak.
So no
And
UI issues,
I've had
no
no UI issues or anything like that.
irritations.
No, 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 no.
Oh, that's
I
good.
could see where somebody who's used to a mouse and keyboard and they can click, I want to go here, or you just click on the menu and it opens up. I could see where somebody who's used to that, and then now they have to navigate and they have to hit like the R1s and the L2s and use the D-pad and whatnot. I could see where somebody would say like, oh, this doesn't feel intuitive at all. But if you're somebody that's been playing on consoles, this is going to feel perfectly intuitive and natural.
Nice. All right. So, you know, the question I always ask when we talk about stuff like this, hours played so far?
Not that many. Basically, I have not played this game outside of the stream. I've been doing everything on stream because I was enjoying it. I thought other people would enjoy it, and I was playing Bloodborne, and that one definitely seemed like it needed more grinding to kind of level up and whatnot. So I was playing that one off stream when I had the time, and right now I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 off stream. So whatever you've seen me play, that's exactly the number I've played. So let's see, that is how many weeks were there in October? 4 or 5?
5, I think.
5 weeks in October, and we've had 3 weeks so far. So that's 8 weeks at about maybe. Sometimes I do 2, sometimes I do 3. Let's say 2.5 hours over 8 weeks. So that would be what?
16,
16
24
plus 8,
hours.
24 hours, give or take, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty decent.
And I'm about halfway
Room
through.
for improvement for Othercide 2. What would you suggest?
Room for improvement. Oh, that would be a tough one. Because it is a very simple game. So it's one of those things where, like, it'd be interesting to see more classes and whatnot. But at the same time, I feel like because it works so well on such a simple level, complicating it might actually hurt it more than help it. So, yeah, I can't really think of any ways to improve it off the top of my head. Maybe just a few bug fixes, like for instance the one where enemies stopped spawning so I couldn't complete a level, that sort of thing. I think that would improve it. One thing I do like about it is that I play it on normal mode, but you can play it on an easier mode where your daughters will heal half of their life every day in the game. So, maybe if there was. So, right now there's only 2 modes that you can play in. Maybe if there was another mode where they full heal every day for people who are, maybe people like you who don't want to spend so much time in the game and just want to enjoy the story, so it's like just a pure story mode. Maybe something like that could improve it for people, because it is one of those things where it's supposed to be punishing in a way, and that's part of the aesthetic. But I understand for people who want to go through time, I could see a lot of people saying I don't even want to touch it because on the surface level it looks like this. So I
Oh
think
yeah,
something like
no.
that.
I was sort of like vacillating between yes, oh Adam's the way Adam is describing it's cool, and then no, oh my god, I don't like to lose characters in games. And,
Yeah,
we've talked about this before. I've like saved scum on every XCOM I've ever played, and I'll redo particular like moment in time as many times as it takes for me to that person not to die. And I've seen like there's a new Polish game. It's in open beta, Broken World or Broken. It's not Broken Sword, of course, but um, and they have like an interesting thing there where they have the regular game, they have a survival mode, and they have a roguelike mode.
okay,
So I'd like to play this in like a regular mode, like just like you suggested, where none of this roguelite stuff. Because I've tried roguelites over the years, and I kickstarted one, and that game was absolutely. I kickstarted because of the art, absolutely beautiful. But the roguelike elements, I think I ended up playing it for all of 6 hours. I'm like, yeah, this. I feel like I need some rewards in my life, and I get that from gaming. And so in a roguelite, I feel like, yes, I'm about to get it. And oh, sorry, we're going to take it away. Start again.
yeah. There's definitely that kind of element. That they do give you some rewards. One thing is for each mission you complete, you get what are called remembrances, and each time you restart, you can expend your remembrances for certain perks. Like every time you generate a new daughter, she automatically starts at level 4 rather than level 1, or you do 20% extra damage against certain enemies, or you get more. They call it vitae, which is a resource you can use to buff attacks and stuff like that. So each time you restart, you can use remembrances to get these and start over with certain buffs. And one thing that I thought the remembrances were, when you start over, however many you've earned, that's how many you can spend. But what it is it's actually every time you earn remembrances, it increases your pool of remembrances, and every time you start over, you start off with a full thing of remembrances. So now I'm on cycle 10 or something like that, and I have enough remembrances that I can buy every single perk. So
See,
uh,
that's cool. I like that
yeah.
part.
So every time you start over, you're stronger. You can skip if you've beaten a chapter. You can skip straight to the most recent. You can skip to whichever chapter you want that you've already beaten. So you don't have to start from the beginning every single time. You can just start from the most recent chapter. You can start off with your characters at level 7 rather than level 1. So yeah, there is a reward to it, but there's patience involved. So if you're the kind of person who just wants to get through the game, then that's not going to be very appealing.
No. See, and this is where I think this has stepped it up. I've played 2 roguelikes, maybe more. So that's the card game one that I kickstarted. And this one, like just like every roguelite, is you get that extra bonus every time you die. But I feel like a lot of these roguelites, like they just sort of dwindle it out, or give it to you in very small chunks. And for me, that doesn't work. But this sounds like you get to a point where you have everything and you're like strong enough. That's cool. Like another game I played was Everspace, and Everspace was like, after you die the first time, plus 2% cannon damage. Yay!
No, this is like 20% damage against cult units, 20% damage against nightmare units. They're pretty
So I know,
significant buffs.
yeah. See, I'm cool with significant buffs. I'm not cool with games that, like, I know some people, for them, like, oh, cool, I'm gonna do this again and again and again and again, and then build up that it's bonus stuff. But for me, I need that say, okay, after this session, this is my reward, and it's significant enough so that next session too makes me feel stronger, more powerful.
Yeah. And they'll tell you, you can go to the remembrances. It won't tell you what remembrances that you don't have. It won't tell you what they are. But if you highlight them, it will tell you how to unlock them. So you can kind of get an idea of like, oh, okay, I have to beat this level or I have to defeat this many enemies. So if you had a goal, you could kind of work towards it. Yeah.